She asked you to cash a check. Why?
Because she couldn't cash it in her account due to the check that she received every month. So I said yes.
You mean she wanted to hide it from the government because she receives a government check every month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you decided to help her hide this big check from the government. And what was this big check coming in from?
One of her family members passed away.
This is the plaintiff, Sarah Welch. She says the defendant was her one-time good friend, but not anymore because she stole $800 out of her bank account. The defendant can't just take her money and steal from her like that, so she's suing for the $800 because she wants it back. This is the defendant, Anne. She says she was a signatory on the plaintiff's account, and the money she took from it was hers, not the plaintiff's. The plaintiff degraded her on social media, claiming she was a pill-popping thief, and if anyone's owed money today, it's not the plaintiff. She's accused of stealing from a friend. The defendant has filed a countersuit for $500 for libel.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
What you are about to witness is real. The participants are not actors. They are actual litigants with a case pending in civil court. Both parties have agreed to drop their claims and have their cases settled here before Judge Marilyn Mizan in our forum, the People's Court.
People's Court is now in session. The Honorable Judge Marilyn Mizan is now presiding. Litigants have been sworn, Your Honor.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Ms. Welch, you are suing your former friend, Mizan, for $800 that you say she illegally withdrew from an account from you, and you have a counterclaim against her for $500 for libel. Let me hear from you first, Ms. Welch. Tell me what happened here.
Yes, ma'am. The defendant, she asked me to cash a check in my account for her.
How did you two know each other?
We met through a mutual friend.
And how long had you known each other?
I want to say for about 15 years.
Okay. And had you been close during those 15 years?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. And so she asked you to cash a check. Why?
Because she couldn't cash it in her account due to the check that she received every month. So I said yes.
You mean she wanted to hide it from the government because she receives a government check every month?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So you decided to help her hide this big check from the government. And what was this big check coming in from?
One of her family members passed away.
Right.
I didn't mean to help her.
Well, that's kind of, I mean, you know, it's up to no good if she's asking you, I can't put it in my account. Because it'll, in fact, you told me the reason why she couldn't put it in, because then it'll affect my monthly disability. Because if I have money, if I've received money through an inheritance, then my disability is supposed to be, or whatever government is supposed to be reduced. All right. So anyway, what happens to the check she received?
I took it to my bank. My bank said I had to add her to my account in order for me to deposit the check because it would look like I was stealing her money. And I said, okay. So I deposited it in my account and I added her. And she received her money.
How quickly did she receive the money?
She received it pretty quickly.
Like, did you wait for the check to clear?
I want to say within 2 weeks she received the money.
All right, so they waited for the check to clear. And then what happened?
She got the money.
And this was this whole little arrangement was how long ago? How many years ago?
It was a long time ago.
Can you give me an idea? Are we talking about 10 years or 3 years or what?
I want to say about 10 years.
10 years. Okay. All right. So then what happens?
Then we go on, we're being friends and everything is normal. Then I stopped being friends with her due to something that happened. It was a toxic friendship and I just couldn't be part of it no more. So I stopped being friends with her.
What was it that happened?
I couldn't be friends with her that year completely. She just changed from who she was when I first met her. And it was just more negativity than positivity. And at that point, I just couldn't be friends with her no more.
All right. So what happened?
And after that, I haven't spoken to her in probably about 4 years. I go to make a purchase on my DoorDash and it says my card is blocked. I call my bank and my bank said, call my main bank where I go to. They've been trying to call me for a week, but I didn't know. I never checked the voicemail and any number that's not listed in my phone was registered as spam. So I never got the call. When I called the bank, they said the defendant was calling to the bank for a week, asking questions and all this information about the account that I didn't know she was still on, because I spoke to a teller years ago and he told me it would be taken care of and she was off.
Did you ever check to
And
make sure that, I mean, don't you get bank statements?
I get everything online, and I even showed the bank this. I never saw her name on my online account. Her name was never on my online account. And I went paperless because I do everything online.
So when you log in, you don't see her name?
No, ma'am, not at all. I never saw her name at all.
Okay, so what ended up happening? So you find out that she's calling about your account and did what?
She went down to the bank on July 1st and she withdrew $800. And I called the police that night and I explained to them what the bank just told me on the phone. And the bank was already closed that day, so I had to go down the next morning, close my account, and reopen a new account. And the bank manager,
which is how you should have done it the last time, actually, really. If you no longer want,
that's what
if you have a change in circumstances where someone is on your account, whether it's an ex or a friend or whatever it is that's going on, you close the account and then you open up a new account so that this kind of error doesn't happen. But anyway, so tell me what happens. You go down there and you close out the account. Was there any money left?
Yes, there was money left.
How much?
I think it was about 800 or 700.
So the DoorDash was less than that. So why was it not being able to be used? Because they wanted you to call in because they found everything suspicious?
Yes, ma'am. They thought it was suspicious. And they knew the situation that she only made the one deposit into my account of her check. And they knew the money was given. And
Mizan, what's going on here?
None of this is accurate.
Okay. You tell me your version.
We had been friends since 2004. And in 2008, I lent her $2,400 in cash so that she could secure an apartment. It was first, last, and security. And she did secure that apartment. She no longer lives there, but she owed me $2,400 in cash. So finally, in 2018, I sort of hinted around about going to small claims court or start paying me on that amount.
On a debt from 12 years ago?
From 2008. We were very, very good friends.
Had the debt come up ever in those 13 years?
Occasionally.
Tell me about that check that you received. That was part of an inheritance?
Yes.
And
My
why
mother
didn't you just put it in your own account?
Basically, I did. What happened was Sarah and I went to the bank.
Why? Why is Sarah involved? Why didn't you just deposit the check in your own account?
Because I wanted, if something happened to me, I wanted Sarah to have the cash for her son, who was my godson. I did not cash the check. It was put into a certificate of deposit.
Well, what happened with the money, the inheritance?
Well, I eventually took it out and put it into my other account.
Okay, but not the account where the government puts the money, right?
I was not.
Was it the same account where the government puts the money or no?
Yes. I was not trying to hide the money.
Well, if the money is supposed to be there for if something happens to you to go to the godson, then why were you pulling it out and putting it back into an account?
At the end of the year, that is what I did.
He was no longer your godson at the end of the year, or?
No, he was still my godson.
Right.
However, I had other debts that I had to take care of.
All right, so tell me what just happened, because apparently you guys lost touch years ago. Is that true or not true?
No, we talked until the end of 2018. In the very beginning of 2019, she Facebook messaged me saying that we were no longer friends.
Okay.
Never giving me a clear idea as to what was going on. Except she was unhappy, and I said, if you were unhappy for 14 years, I mean, why didn't you say something? But at any rate, that was that. That was the messaging from Facebook. That was it. That was the last bit
All right.
of
So what happened
communication
with this
we had.
$800 she's talking about? Did you withdraw $800 from her account?
Yes. What happened was, I guess when Sarah moved, she did not change her address at the bank. So at the end, last day of June, I received from the bank in a handwritten envelope addressed to both me and Sarah that there had been a credit from an ATM deposit to our account. So I called the bank and verified that I was, in fact, a signatory on this account.
So you
Had
helped
I
yourself to
never-
money that you knew wasn't yours?
It was mine.
How was it
She
yours?
owed me $2,400.
From 13 years ago, which you know the statute of limitations has passed and you wouldn't be able to sue her for.
No, I did not realize.
I think you did, because one of the things you said was, I
No,
threatened to take her to court,
I did
but
not.
I wasn't really gonna because too much time passed. Let me ask you a question. Ms. Welch, did she loan you $2,400 that you were supposed to pay back and didn't?
I paid back over years. I didn't have $2,400 to give right back. I work from paycheck to paycheck, and I didn't have $2,400 to give her back at once. I paid to have stuff done on her car twice. I gave her back money through the years.
But
And
did
then
you fully
the last
pay it?
year-
I'm sorry, did you fully pay it off or didn't you? Is what
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am, I did. I didn't even know that I still supposedly owed her money.
Let me ask you, Mizan, how did you figure that you could just go into, I know how you figured you could get away with it, because of course your name is on the account. And therefore, you could get away with it vis-a-vis the bank. And the bank won't get in trouble because, hey, your name's on the account. So the bank isn't going to sue you or anything else like that. My question to you is different. How do you figure that you can help yourself to the money? Because that's like saying that if you feel I owe you money, you can go into my bedroom, open my drawer, and take my stash of money and help yourself to it. How is it that you feel that you were not going to get in trouble for taking $800 out of her account instead of going to court and suing the right way?
I was a signatory on the
No,
account.
that's the answer to how did you think you were going to get away with it? You know that that money
No.
wasn't there for you. You know that because you haven't spoken to her since 2018.
I do know. Yes, that is true. I do know that that money was not there for
Right.
me.
So it's called theft.
However,
How is it not theft?
She owed me.
So then go sue her in court. You don't get to stick your hand in the till just because you can get away with it with the bank. That's not appropriate. That's completely dishonest. And you know that. What's your counterclaim for $500 for?
She went on Facebook and unblocked me with her new account, and she tagged me in a post saying that I was a pill-popping thief, and she would comment on a bunch of things that I had posted, just nasty comments.
Do you have any of them to show me?
Unfortunately, because we then blocked one another again, I could not get the tag. However, I did respond to it. I am not a pill-popping thief.
Well, I know you're a thief. I know you're a thief.
I'm not a
No,
thief.
you're absolutely a thief. You went to a bank because you could, and you took money because you could, even though you had no permission to take the money and you know the money was not yours. You avoided court like the rest of us chumps have to do when we feel we're owed money because too long had passed, so you knew you would never be entitled to the money.
I did not
Then
know.
I don't care if you knew it or not. You know that you can't stick your hand in her pocket, take the money and say, ha, 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 because you owe me money from 13 years ago. You know that. You know that. Because if not, I'm really worried about you living on your own. All right? You know that. Now, did you write a Facebook post that she was a pill-popping thief?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And where do you
I
get
did,
the
but I
idea
didn't
she's a
mean
pill
it.
popper? I understand where you think she's a thief. Tell me where you get the idea she's a pill popper.
Because she takes a lot of medication. She stole medication from my bag as I was going across the street to pick up my son from the school. And as I came around from the back window of the car, I saw her going in my purse and she stole medication, quickly put it in her pocket to think that I wouldn't see it. And that's why from that point, I never took a bag with her. I only wore
Wait, did
my
you say anything
wristlet.
to her when she did that?
I didn't know what, ma'am, I didn't know what to say because
What do you mean
I've
you don't know
never
what
had
to
that
say? I
done
know what to
me, and I
say.
don't
Give
know
me
what,
back my medicine.
I don't know what to say to somebody like that. I don't know the right thing to say.
I just saw you
Because
steal my
when they
medicine.
do that,
I mean, off the top of my head, I'm not giving it a lot of thought. But hey, what do you think you're doing?
and I called her the thief because she stole my money. So I put it together and I wrote it to write to her, and I posted on the Facebook.
Ms. Welch, on your lawsuit against Mizan, I find in your favor. Mizan, here's a big surprise. Return the $800 that you helped yourself to, that you had absolutely no right to help yourself to. You shouldn't have taken the $800. On your counterclaim against her for $500 for a statement you no longer even have, where she called you a pill-popping thief, I find in her favor, and I am not going to call that libel. That is her opinion. There's always a fine line between those things. You are on, you do, I'm not going to pry into your personal life, but you do take pills. And I find that you did steal her money. So frankly, truth is a defense. And I am going to, although I don't like it when people take to the internet like that, I don't find it actionable. Return her $800, verdict for the plaintiff, and on the counterclaim, 0.
So the plaintiff prevails in this case. She's going to get her $800 back, and the defendant loses her countersuit for $500. Mizan, the judge called you a thief, flat-out thief. What do you think?
I don't agree with it, obviously. However, she's the judge. I have to respect what the decision that she came to. I am not going to pay Sarah back the $800. I am on Social Security, and I can't.
Ms. Welch, let me ask you, how do you feel about this now? You were kind of stupid not to take her off your account. You realize that now, don't you?
Yes, sir. I should have been more thorough in taking her off. I've never added anybody to my account before, and I should have been more checking with it and to make sure.
No question about that. You learned a lesson the tough way. Anyway, you're going to get your $800
Yes.
back, so sorry, this ended your friendship, and that'll do it for this case. Harvey?
Well, Doug, I think this is interesting because you have a situation where it's true the defendant was a signatory, but it was a mistake, and it was a mistake clearly known to the defendant. So the defendant had no right to take the money, period. As for the countersuit, you know what? It's as simple as this. I'm sure you've heard it before. In a defamation case, truth is a defense.
If you were stranded on a desert island, who would you want to be stranded with?
Okay, so are we going to exclude each other from this?
Yes, we have to exclude each other. Let's exclude each other.
Okay, well, I'm going to say you would want to be stranded with a really good decorator who would create an environment with the feng shui and the
Yes,
the
it's
ambient.
so true.
That's who you would want. You'd want
That's
like
right.
Martha Stewart or somebody to just make it
somebody who
so,
could just make
right.
it, some
Right.
incredible decorator who could just make my space nice and calm and yeah, absolutely.
All right, now I would want to be stranded with somebody who could make me laugh incessantly.
Oh, that's a way better idea.
It would have to be a comedian, maybe like a Chris Rock or John Mulaney. Some of the ones that I like. John Mulaney's funny as hell, so somebody like that. But the funny thing is, when you ask somebody who do you want to be stranded on a desert island with, most men are gonna go right to the supermodel, actress, spectacular kind of thing. And when you think about that question, I toy that over my mind, and then I think, I want to be with somebody who likes me. And those people are probably not going to like me, right? So at the end of the day, I probably want to be there with you. So, not that you're not a supermodel.
No.
This is the plaintiff, Steve Mitchell. He says he purchased a truck from the defendant, and when he went to register it, he was told he couldn't because there was a lien on it. The defendant said he would take care of it, but hasn't, and he's suing him for the $3,200 he paid the crook. This is the defendant, George Perrone. He says he told the plaintiff he was selling the truck for parts only because he didn't have any paperwork on it. Now the guy says there's a lien on it and he knows nothing about a lien, so he owes zero. He's accused of selling a bad truck.
All parties, please raise your right hands.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff bought a truck from the defendant and says he couldn't register the thing because it had a lien on it. But the defendant says that he told the plaintiff the truck had no papers and was being sold for parts only. It's the case of, I can't keep on trucking.
Thank you, Douglas.
You're welcome.
Okay, Mr. Mitchell, you are suing Mr. Perrone for the return of $3,200 for a Chevy Avalanche that you purchased from him. Let me hear what happened.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. I went on Facebook Marketplace to look for a truck for my family. I'm a single father with 4 children. I currently have a Mustang, so it's not big enough to transport them around and work. And I'm kind of currently unemployed. And I looked on Facebook Marketplace. I saw his ad. It said in the ad that it had no money owed on it or anything. I contacted him in the messenger, and I told him to call me. And then when we spoke, he didn't say anything about a lien. He mentioned that it didn't have a title. I was fine with it not having a title because I could have ordered a title through cartitles.com. But he never told me about it about it having a lien on it.
And did it have a lien on it?
Yes, ma'am.
How did you discover that there was a lien on the car he had sold you?
Once I got the vehicle and ordered to send for the title, they sent through cartitles.com. They sent me back a bonded title. So I was looking at it like a bonded title. So I went to the DMV, to which I called him on the phone when he's supposed to.
I'm sorry, I didn't understand what you said. You applied for a title, and who gave you a bonded title?
I received one from cartitles.com.
Okay, and then what was the problem with the title you received?
It had a lien on the truck. It had a lien on it.
Well, who's got a lien on it and why?
Right now, Midland Funding has the lien on it, but when you pull the VIN number up, when you put his VIN number in, it shows G. And then what they did is they sell.
Yeah, I got it. They sell the loan to the next entity. What's going on, Mr. Perrone? According to him, you sold him a car that you still owed money on.
Okay, first of all, the ad said that the car did not have papers. That's number one. When he came to my house, I explained to him that it was sold to me through a relative of the man that passed away. So if there was any lien on it, I was not aware of that, first of all. Second of all, I also explained to him that it is very hard to get a title from somebody else. You can't just go and apply for somebody else's title for a car.
I'm sorry, did you, wait, back it up, Mr. Perrone. You sold this car to him and he paid you $3,200. You can't sell a car that someone else has an interest in. And, you can't sell it without being honest that there's a lien on it.
Your Honor, I told him, first of all, he paid $2,000 for the car and he also bought a motorcycle for $1,200 from it. That's first off.
Okay, so hold on one second. Do you have any paperwork from the sale? According to him, he paid $3,200 for the truck and you threw in a 1998 Honda motorcycle.
Not true. I paid $1,200 for the
Do you have a bill of sale?
No, I don't. Actually, the motorcycle was back on Marketplace. He sold it shortly after I sold it.
Okay. And how much did he sell the motorcycle for?
$1,200.
Is that accurate, Mr. Mitchell?
No, ma'am, it's not accurate.
What did you sell the motorcycle for?
I sold the motorcycle for $900 because it had a title and it wasn't no lien or anything on it, and it wasn't stolen. Okay. I had a police check.
How do you know that he sold it for $1,200, Mr. Perrone?
It was in the ad. I saw the ad on.
Yeah, but how do you know what he negotiated?
I don't know what he sold it for.
Okay. Do you have proof you sold it for $900, Mr. Mitchell? Because this may become relevant in terms of the value of the Avalanche.
No, ma'am. When I sold the motorcycle, I was really just like getting rid of it, and the guy, we just signed it like a bill of sale.
Signed what? Where's the bill of sale?
Oh, I don't have the bill of sale for that.
All right, Mr. Perrone, why is there a lien on? Do you deny that there's a lien on it, or you don't care, you don't know, and that's his problem?
I did not know there was a lien on the vehicle, which is irrelevant.
Why would it be irrelevant?
Because I explained to him that you cannot just go and register this vehicle. It is only a parts car. That you cannot just go down and register somebody else's vehicle, whether they passed away or not. There's a long process involved, which I explained to him.
What did you put in the ad?
I put in the ad no papers.
And then you also put bonded title, right?
No, I did not put in.
Okay.
That was the name I put in for him.
That was
I also
what?
helped.
I'm sorry. Stop talking. If you think, let me tell you something. I am the original fast talker. Just fast talking over me isn't going to get me lost. If I have an itch here, I'm going to make you scratch the itch. So please wait for my questions and don't just barrel forward. Okay, now let us look at the ads, because I have more than one ad, which I don't understand why I would have more than one ad.
Because I sent you one that I put in for him to help him get rid of the
posted multiple ads.
Okay, which is the one, let's see if we can agree on which is the one he saw and relied on in the purchase.
What's the price on the vehicle? That's how we could tell.
It says $1,500. That would be the second one then, right?
No, I put an ad for him for $2,600.
Okay, so hold on one second. So this would be the ad you put, correct?
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
okay, perfect. All right. No title, parts car, must sell lots of new parts. Bonded title. I just asked you if you put the words bonded title in the ad and you said no, but I just read them out loud.
He told me he had the bonded title. I never had the bonded title.
I'm sorry, this is your ad. This is not his writing. It is your writing.
I put that ad in.
And you put in the ad bonded title. Do you know what bonded title means?
Your Honor, I put that ad in for him.
No, this is the one that you put in and he bought. We just established that because the amount is $2,600. Okay, show me the ad that you put that he bought. Go ahead, you show me the ad.
The ad that I put in was the one you just showed me. I put in for him.
All right, now show me the one that you put in that he bought it from you with.
I don't have that.
Yeah, I do. The one that you put in for him says $1,500. It says the lower amount. That is how you just explained to me how to find the correct ad that I'm looking for, which is the ad that you represented to him. Then I said, this one says, don't talk over me. This one says $2,600. And then he said, yeah, that's my ad. Not the ad, you can't put both ads in for him to sell it later. One of them is your ad to him. We established that the one for $2,600 is the ad you put in all on your lonesome. You put the words in, has nothing to do with him. And what are the words that are in there? The words bonded title.
That is for him. No, that ad is for him.
Okay, now you're going to need to show. All right, you can't have it both ways. So if this is the one you put, stop. If this is the one you put in for him, you're telling me that you put in an ad to try to resell it when he brought up the problem. So what are you going to do? Kick it down the road and give this lien problem to another person, and that you put it in as $2,600 the second time around.
It's not a lien problem, ma'am. It's a vehicle that is a parts car.
Did you hear what Mr. Perrone, once again, I'm going to need you to listen to my question because it's very simple. There are two ads in evidence. One says $2,600.
Right.
And the other one says $1,500. Why are there two ads?
Correct. Okay. The $1,500 ad is the original ad that I put in to sell the vehicle.
Okay, let's do it your way. Now, the $1,500 ad, because now we've established that the $2,600 one doesn't have a good history behind it. So let's see what the $1,500 one has. No papers, you can get title. Why are you saying you can get title?
You can.
Right,
you have
unless there's a lien, then you got a problem. Because if there's a lien, you can't sell a car that without telling him, hey, by the way, you're going to pay me and then you're going to pay this other guy if you really want it because somebody still owes the other guy. Now, let me ask you a question, Mr. Mitchell. The lien is in whose name?
From what I'm understanding, it's in Mr. Perrone's name.
How do you understand that? What makes you understand that? Because he claims he was selling it for someone else.
I contacted funding where they said the lien was.
Were they trying to collect on a separate debt and therefore they put a lien on your car, Mr. Perrone?
Ma'am, the car was never my car. I never had a lien on the car. It was not.
Was the car ever in your name? Yes or no?
It was not in my name, no.
Do you owe someone money who then discovered you possessed a car and then tried to put a lien on it? No. All right.
No.
All right. So I need to see the paperwork that you have, Mr. Mitchell, that tells you that it's Mr. Perrone who has the lien. I'm just curious.
I only have it by contacting them over
Is
the
it verbal
phone.
or do you have it in writing? Is it verbal or do you have it in writing?
I had it in verbal, and I even
I'm not interested in verbal. I don't want to hear you flap your gums about what somebody else flapped their gums to you on. I can't trust that. When you went to DMV, DMV tells you that they cannot give you, you can't get a title because there's a lien on it. And the evidence of the lien you've introduced to the court. When you contact the defendant and tell him, hey, there's a problem because there's a lien on the vehicle, what does he say?
Oh, he says, "Oh, okay, I'll fix it up. Just go to the DMV and call me, or I'll come up there and we'll resolve it all," because he didn't want me to bring him to court.
Right, and then what happened?
Well, I went to the DMV like he told me to. I called him and got him on the phone to try to clear it up with the woman, and he still hung up the phone and then ghosted me. They
So
could
where's
only
the
tell
car
me
now?
he had the lien. It's right here in my yard, ma'am.
Mr. Perrone, when both of the ads, one says bonded title and the other one says you can get a title, and we know you can't because there's a lien on it, why is it that he can't come back and say, well, give me my money back, I'll give you your truck back, I can't use this? Because both ads say, one says bonded title and the other one says you'll be able to get a title. So one of those are your ad. So why isn't he right?
The first one I told him, when he came to me, I explained to him how it would have to be done. Either through a tow truck company or a salvage company. You have to advertise for 10 days. It's a long process to get the title. It can be done.
None of that is in any of your ads. None of that is in any of your ads.
I explained to him when he came to my house.
Did he sit around telling you have to go through a salvage company, Mr. Mitchell? You'll have to do this. You'll have to jump that hurdle. You'll have to jump the other hurdle.
No, ma'am.
Okay.
No, ma'am. Definitely not.
I told him that when he got blinded by was getting a $10,000 car for $2,000. I explained to him it was not that
What
easy.
he got was a big headache that he's not able to register, that he's not able to get a title to, even though both ads say you'll be able to get a title. One says, and the other one says bonded title. That's even worse. That means that I will insure you against any problem with the title. That's what the words bonded title mean.
If you listen to the rest of the story,
if you will listen, here's what happened. You put in an ad for $2,600, right? Because he didn't.
Yes.
Right. And the $2,600 ad says the words bonded title. Then he gets it, and you tell him, oh, wait, there's a lien. No, that won't be a problem. Don't worry about it. We'll clear that up. But apparently it is a problem. So now he has a car which has one warranty. The only warranty in an as-is sale is, hey, it's a car, right? Like I'll be able to.
Not hearing the full story.
I'm hearing it. I just don't like what I'm hearing.
No, you're not.
Yeah.
You came to my house,
if it says I have no papers, cool. You're not supposed to turn over a title because you made it very clear you have no papers. But when both ads, pick your favorite, because you put one of those two, not for him to sell it later. One of them was your advertisement. One says bonded title, the other one says you'll be able to get a title. Then that means that you are saying, you'll be able to get a title. Don't worry. So this whole parts thing, you could say that all you want, but when you advertise you'll be able to get a title, you get a better price. See? So you don't get to say that and then there's no way the man can get a title because there's a lien. You got to stand behind what you said in the advertisement, whichever advertisement you'd like me to say was your original advertisement, because it doesn't matter.
Okay.
Both of them say you can get a title.
Or you just want to go by that? You want to hear my side, or you want to?
Oh, no. I want to hear you say something that will persuade me out of my verdict. Absolutely. You have the floor.
Very simple. When he came to me, I explained to him that it's very hard to get. He had then left for a month, came back a month later, and he had this problem, and he told me that he had got in touch with the bank that had the lien. I said, okay, I will help you. He says, yeah, they need you to want to speak to you. I said, okay, I don't think that's going to help, but I'm going to try anyway. I got the people on the phone, and they told me that they were glad that I brought it to their attention because they had no idea what happened to this vehicle. The vehicle was written off, and they didn't want any more money. It was an old vehicle, and they had no interest in the vehicle whatsoever. They said to put him back on the phone and get him to follow up with it, and he can get the title. This is what the bank told me and him.
Okay. So is that what the bank told you, sir?
It was not a problem getting the title. I don't know where he
Mr. Mitchell, is that what the bank told you?
No, ma'am.
What did they tell you?
No. Where did I get that number from then?
I'm
confused. You came to me and gave me that number, and I called them for you.
Okay.
You begged me to call them for you. I told you.
I'm sorry. You said the bank told him that. Did you place the call, Mr. Perrone, or did Mr. Mitchell place the call? Mr. Perrone, stop just barreling through. It's not going to help your case.
And I was just trying to help you.
You need to stop talking. If there was a total of $3,200 paid, and Mr. Mitchell does not have any proof of what he sold it for, which he should have when he's here, all right, I'm going to go by the Blue Book value of the motorcycle. And the Blue Book value is $1,000. So that means that of the $3,200, the Blue Book, the motorcycle would have represented $1,000 of it. So that leaves $2,200 for the Avalanche. I'm going to order Mr. Perrone to return to you the $2,200, and you have to return the avalanche to Mr. Perrone. Officer McIntosh will make those arrangements outside with you folks now. That's my verdict. Good luck, gentlemen.
So the defendant, who has been quite irate throughout all this case, has got to give the plaintiff back $2,200. Mr. Perrone, what are you thinking about? How about your decision? Your impression of the decision.
It was very unfair.
What do you think?
He knew what he was buying when he bought it. I didn't twist his arm to buy the vehicle. Meanwhile, he's got the car, and God knows what he did with it. And he could have sold it 15 times. Because he had 1 million people call him to buy it for parts.
Well, you get the car back, by the way.
For parts. You take the wheels off, you sell the wheels. You take the doors off, you sell the doors. It's a parts car.
Yeah, all right. He didn't mean to do that. That's what wasn't his goal, to sell it for parts. You get the car back, you can do that. Mr. Mitchell, let me talk to you. How do you feel about the judge's decision now?
Yeah, I put a lot of money and stuff into it, but that's fine. He can get it back. It's not an issue. I don't know why he's whining.
No, you got to give it back to him, and you'll get the money from him in that case. All righty. Well, listen, really amazing case. Thank you very much. Congratulations.
Okay, Doug, well, look, the judge made it clear the defendant defrauded the plaintiff. We know that now. But there's a bigger point here. And the bigger point is this. You don't have to be defrauded by relying on what the seller of a vehicle tells you, because now with Carfax and everything else at your disposal, you can know exactly what you're buying before you buy it. There are a lot of problems with social media, with online, but the one great thing about online, or one of the great things, is that you have knowledge at your fingertips. You can know what you're buying. You can say, I pass because of what you see online, regardless of what the seller tells you. Sellers should become irrelevant at that point when it comes to buying a vehicle, because the better thing and the better way of going is to look for yourself and know exactly what you're buying before you buy it.
Now that recreational marijuana is legal in certain states, can you file a lawsuit involving marijuana?
Well, I'm not sure. That's a very broad question, so I'm not sure exactly what they're asking. If they're asking about their right to smoke or consume.
Let's assume it means you want to sue somebody because they're smoking marijuana in public and you don't like it, even though it's legal in your state.
Well, here's the thing. There's still, even though a lot of states have legalized it, there could still be zones and areas where you're still not allowed to do it. Like in Colorado, there's certainly zones where you can't openly consume.
Right.
And we know that because your cousin
is the mayor of Vail. Right.
And he tells us all about litigation and stuff.
And he's kind of told us about this as it progressed over the years. So it's been very interesting. When they were going to legalize it in Colorado, and then when they did legalize it in Colorado, in cities like Vail and these ski towns had to make decisions about, are we going to have it sold in our town? Are we going to allow it to be consumed in our town openly versus privately in your home, or et cetera? Just because it's legal doesn't mean you can't end up
regulated.
In court.
Yeah, you could end up. It's still regulated.
Right. We regulate alcohol. That's legal. We regulate tobacco. We regulate marijuana to a certain extent.
So yes, you could still end up in litigation.
That'll do it today. We'll see you tomorrow on the People's Court.